કેમ છો? મજામાં? આજે સવારે અહીંયા આવીને તમારી સાથે વાત કરવાની મને ખૂબ જ આનંદ થયો. Good morning to all of you and thank you all for being here. It is a privilege for me to address all of you this morning. And I congratulate the organizers at NCD for organizing this online talk. As a woman in a leadership position, I am frequently asked to speak on women and women's issues. On such occasions, I speak of ordinary women, not celebrities or heroines. I speak of those who have transcended their personal circumstances or adverse externalities and carved out a future for themselves and those that they love. I strongly believe that these individual stories together script the collective narrative of all women. In doing so, these ordinary stories of ordinary women, women like you and I, become a powerful, transformational, and extraordinary narrative of women as a collective. This set me thinking. We speak of empowerment easily and often. We use the term loosely as though it is an achievement. But what is empowerment really? The prefix M in empower troubles me, as though it is something that the more powerful and privileged bestow upon the less powerful and privileged. Indeed, if you look at the dictionary or the thesaurus, the synonyms jump out. Empower means to allow, to give power and authority. That is not just condescending. It is not even true, is it? Look back to your own lives or other women that you know. When I look at the people that I admire, whether women or men, no one gave them anything. They pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, not once or twice, but each time that they fell or were pushed down. That includes me. I may look successful and fulfilled, but I was not handed anything on a platter. I have striven and coped and toiled. If anything, people around me made things more difficult, either deliberately or inadvertently. The so-called empowered women struggled, survived, and thrived over many years, slowly, gradually, at times painfully. Each story is different, but one thing is common. These women built their individual capability, and this made them not symbolic shells who were given power, but the true architects of their own self-empowerment. Building capability. That is the key. Building capability rather than empowerment is a far more accurate description of my journey and the journey of many women that I know. If it sounds familiar, let me remind you, building capability is the underpinning of the Nobel laureate Amartya Sen's capability approach. Sounds too theoretical? Well, let me make it simple. For me, this sums up my capability approach. Don't give me a larger slice of the cake because I am a woman. What I want is not just a bite into your slice. I want to choose the cake that I eat, its texture and flavor and color, and I want to learn to bake it myself and share it with you too equally. The capability approach. What is the use of theory if it does not enable practice, help us live a better life? Let me delve deeper into what constitutes my capability cake. Here too, the flavors and colors may vary, but the seminal ingredients of my capability cake are just three: competence, courage, compassion. Let me unlayer these three concepts for you. Competence. This is the easiest as it can be acquired, learned. Competence means being good, being the best at what you do. It includes education, a qualification, but goes beyond it. I could have used the word education, but it would be too narrow. My late aunt's formal education stopped at primary school, but her knowledge of the world, of people, was unsurpassed, and she was the world's best cook. Competence is your qualification, your special skill or talent, that value add that you bring to your task that no one else can. It cuts across professions. It applies to career women as much as to homemakers. And best of all, it can be learned. Here is Sunidhi Manjunath. Sunidhi is 12 years old and visually challenged. I met her at the Asha Kirana School for the Blind in Chikmagalur in January 2019. Sunidhi was fully immersed in blind chess. Perhaps others around her were aware of her disability, but she was completely unaware. I remarked in amazement, "You will be a champion soon, Sunidhi." And sure enough, in April, she had won the first prize in the National Blind Chess Championship in Goa. Today, we are not bound by a formal school and collegiate system. Whatever your field of interest, knowledge is available at your fingertips on the internet, television, and a host of non-formal education systems. Use them all. Learn continuously. Be the best at what you do. Second, courage. This is often innate, but it can be acquired too. Here is Mallika. When she lost her husband at a young age, she learned to drive and became a buggy driver in the KLE University in Belgaum. She has put her son through school and got her daughter married with her own earnings. All of us may not face such adversity as Mallika, but there are so many situations, petty as they may seem, confronting a bully in your office, enduring an untenable situation at home, ignoring a rude remark with a smile, which require quiet courage or endurance from you. Sometimes you just need courage just to hang in there when the world around you goes berserk. Sometimes you need courage just to stand in the arena when you are being pushed to its margins. In these times, what you need is faith in the universe and self-belief, and that stubbornness never to give up. Finally, compassion. For me, this is the most critical attribute of a fully capable woman. We are each a daughter, sister, mother, wife, professional, but we are also members of a society and citizens of a nation. We are familiar with corporate social responsibility or the public responsibility of governments. But there is something more. Each of us has a personal social responsibility which we have to recognize and acknowledge. This is our debt to our fellow women and men that we have to pay or pay back. Of course, you are busy with your job and your family and the rush of daily life. But still, choose some sphere, some field you are interested in, and share your talent, knowledge, and expertise. If you are a good singer, go to a hospital or an old age home and sing to the residents. If you love literature, share the delights of a Shamal Bhatt or an Ankit Trivedi with the children in your neighborhood. Pushpalata is a nurse and my NSS coordinator, and she is on COVID-19 duty. The exacting work never dampened her spirits, and after 1 week of COVID duty, she wanted to continue. We had to persuade her to take a break as per protocol. This spirit cannot be born of competence or courage. It needs that special ingredient of compassion. Let me go back to theory. When I began my talk, I spoke of the Nobel laureate Amartya Sen's capability approach. But my interpretation of that theory was through the metaphor of baking a cake. Why do I choose such a simple metaphor to speak of serious gender issues? There are reasons for this. Theory cannot remain an academic exercise. It has to be interpreted, translated, and applied in our life and work. It is easier to remember and practice a concept when it is expressed in simple everyday terms. If I had given you a lecture on gender discrimination, it would have displayed my scholarship. But you will not remember anything of value to take away, and more importantly, to live by and to practice. The second reason is, while speaking of gender or other forms of discrimination, we speak of external factors. And it is true that social and structural issues play a large part in creating the problem. But the fact that the source of the problem lies outside us should not induce helplessness and inaction. You cannot wait till the world changes. You have to effect the change in yourself, impact your own life, and thereby become part of the solution. I believe that solutions to the intractable problems of the world are found most of the time by small, gradual, incremental choices of ordinary people like you and I. That is why I have not shown you pictures of a Gloria Steinem or an Angela Davis. I have instead showcased Sunidhi, Mallika, and Pushpalata. Third, I believe that every problem has a solution, and that solution lies in simple but substantial action, not symbolism. It is not necessary, it is not always possible for all of us to shout slogans and join marches. Symbolic actions do have their value, but what will effect the substantial change are simple, ordinary solutions practiced with extraordinary diligence. Yes, like COVID-19, hand washing, wearing a mask, distancing, simple solutions but substantial impact. So, my dear sisters, Beno, don't wait to be empowered. You build up your capability, your competence, your courage, your compassion. Help and encourage the women around you to do the same. Your daughter, mother, sister, friend, and frenemy. You can do it starting now. Thank you all and fly free. Thank you. Jai Hind.